What's up, everybody? Welcome to another in-person. This is a bonus in-person episode because we weren't even planning on this. And look at this set.
Yeah, in front of a fireplace. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
We're down the shore.
We're at the beach.
Yep. And
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore. Fist bump.
Erin is delirious, she said.
I'm delirious. I am jet lagged.
Fresh off the race.
Yeah.
Not race.
What is it?
I read race.
Oh, okay. Fresh off the plane.
Fresh off the plane. Fresh off L.A.
Fresh off West Coast.
Yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
Fresh off West Coast.
Well, guess what? On the last episode, I said I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to talk about because I signed a thing that to not talk about it. But it turns out if I actually read what I signed,
Yeah.
it would have been more clear that I can talk about it starting yesterday.
Okay. So it was a short term.
It was a short-term NDA.
Yeah.
There's still some things I can't talk about, but no one listening is going to care about those things.
Yeah.
Nor do I.
Yeah, I just want to know what happened. What did you do?
Yeah.
And I feel like you'll be able to talk about those things.
Yeah,
right?
I can talk about everything. So I was excited. Once I found that out while I was there, I was like, oh, next podcast is going to be unhinged, complete details.
Yeah. Also, note that I've heard none of this.
I refuse to. You've been here for how many hours? And I refuse to talk to Mike about anything.
Also, like, you were so busy there that you couldn't even, like, text, I feel like.
Yeah. You would text me and then, like, 6 hours later, I would just be like, okay, or something.
Yeah. I would, like, ask you a question and be like, all right, hopefully she'll see it at some point. And, but that's the environment that you were in.
Yeah,
So do you want to tell everyone what you were doing?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was in LA at the Team USA Universal shoot, which is everything, all the footage that you see during the Olympics and the Paralympics that looks really cool. Either it's like when the athletes are competing and then it like cuts away and it's an interview or a really cool video of them. It looks like they're on a mountain or something. That's actually all filmed on set months before the actual Olympics.
Yeah.
So this year, the Winter Olympics 2026, we just wrapped that shoot of filming all of that.
Yeah. So what's interesting to me is that the thing is next year, really.
Yeah.
But so it's a year before.
Yeah.
And these shoots are being done, and they are kind of just like, these are the people who they're expecting to be on Team USA. Is that what it is?
And they're not all of them either, because there's no like feasible way to fit everybody in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's people they assume will be there or they know they'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
And the it's NBC, Comcast, Team USA. There were 3 stages, I think. On each stage, there's multiple sets.
Right. So it's just like a big hangar and there's like stage.
Yeah.
So you were like literally in like a professional.
Yes.
You know, like they probably film shows at these places.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was like a gated thing. You had to have your credential at the gate. They open it. Your car can drive in, but it has to drive right back out.
mm-hmm.
So it was locked down. Yeah. And craft services.
Right.
I feel
that's
like
how you know.
I felt like that's how I knew this was legit because I heard craft services.
Yeah. I've only ever heard that about like movies or shows.
Yeah. And I used to think that meant like everything was craft cheese. I didn't realize.
It was all the craft brand.
Yeah. Which I would have been fine with.
Yeah.
My stomach hurt anyway.
Right.
Because I was nervous.
Yeah.
So I was invited by Team USA to host 2 different sets.
Mm-hmm.
One was called the Cold Seat, and it was basically like a funny game show with no rhyme or reason to it. I just controlled the elements of like the snow and the wind, and the questions became more uncomfortable to answer as the elements became more uncomfortable.
What do you mean you controlled the elements?
I would like push a button.
Okay.
So I would decide when it was going to get worse for them.
Wait,
like,
that's funny.
If someone took too long answering a question because they didn't want to hurt someone's feelings, I would push the button, then they get blasted with wind and snow.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
That's fun.
And then the other one was a chalet set, which is, we called it like Fireside Chats.
Yeah.
And I would sit with an athlete.
That set was almost like this one.
It actually was. It actually was.
Yeah.
And I would sit with the athletes and do more of a casual interview.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as unhinged and crazy as Cold Seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were my 2 sets. And then within that stage, the athletes also had their photos taken and their video shots taken.
So the questions that you asked, did you know them before? Like, how was that figured out?
It was interesting because that was figured out as I went, which I do not like.
Okay.
But
I had the assumption that you just had like a list of questions that they were like, okay, this is for this athlete.
We started with note cards and they had generic questions for me, but I do not do well with note cards. I learned that about myself because I tended where I wanted to go one way, because I wanted to do a good job.
Yeah,
so I was
of course, because this is like a huge deal, by the way.
It's a huge deal for me.
I don't know if we're making that as clear. This is like a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Like NBC.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There were just NBC people everywhere. And so I wanted to do a good job. And when I felt like I wanted to ask a question that I would want to ask, I felt like, no, someone wrote this question. So I would like read something off
the cue card or whatever. Yeah.
And I would kind of just stick with that. And the first like interview or 2 I did were very dry and I didn't improvise really. And it wasn't like flowing how we wanted
to the
it
script,
to. Yeah.
Which is not something that we do typically.
Exactly. And then the next day I was in hair and makeup and Mo came up to me because we still weren't happy with the Fireside Chat thing.
Okay.
And she was like...
So she was aware of it not being great.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She was very aware.
Okay.
And then she said, I think what we're going to do is get rid of your cue cards because we need more you. And instead of us trying to force you to be like Team USA we need you to just be you because it'll be better. I'm like, well, are you sure about that? It's kind of what I said because you don't know where I'm going to go next.
Right.
And so the first one I did without cue cards, it was amazing. I loved it. I had fun. The athlete had fun. And
you don't really know much about the athlete, right?
Right. So beforehand, I was kind of prepped on each one. This is their first Olympics or they've been to 2 and this is a specific thing about their sport. This is where they're from. Just generic things like that. Yeah. So I went into it prepared with that kind of information and then
like surface level information though, right? They're not telling you like, hey, this person watches this show and
for example, there was a skeleton athlete, which is let me distinguish between luge, skeleton, and bobsled.
Okay.
Because this is something I learned. Luge is you're going feet first. It's not enclosed. It's a sled. You're going feet first. Skeleton is also a sled, not enclosed, but you're going head first, which seems insane, right? And those blades are also a little more blunt. They're not as sharp. And then bobsled is an enclosed sled. Women have a monobob, 1-person bobsled, or 2-person. Men have 2 or 4. They brought the monobob. It's a new kind of sport to bring in more women to the sport.
Okay.
And so I was interviewing a skeleton athlete. And
right. It looks terrifying.
It looks terrifying. And an example of a question I asked was, you're going head first. You could have chosen to go feet first. You could have chosen to go in an enclosed bobsled, but you chose open and head first. Are you scared of anything? Like, do you have phobias? Yeah. Because you're definitely not scared of that. Yeah. And so those are the type of questions. That's the energy I was bringing to the interviews. Yeah. I made Lindsey Vonn laugh, which I didn't think was possible because she is so stoic. And
who is Lindsey Vonn?
Lindsey Vonn, I would say, is probably the most famous alpine skier in the world. Okay. And she was very famous when we were younger, I would say teens, 20s. Yeah. Then she left the sport in 2019 and made this huge comeback recently at the age of like 42 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And she's like Hollywood superstar kind of famous. Okay. So I was terrified of that because the more famous the person was, the more crowded the audience was
Yeah.
in the set, and that
So did they have like an entourage when they would come in, or was it just
Yeah.
like, okay,
it was either an entourage or it was at the very least they had, if it was a skier or
like their
snowboarder,
manager and like,
it would be a representative from US Ski and Snowboard, that at the very least.
okay.
But most people had also their manager there, maybe an agent, hair and makeup person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds intense.
It was intense and I was nervous, and everyone also, cold seat became this really entertaining thing that people wanted to see.
Yeah.
So I had to not pay attention to everyone watching because I would have been nervous.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, like especially if you mess up.
Yeah. Also note that Erin was alone. She didn't have Regan.
Yeah.
I was not there.
Yes.
There was no one to really bounce anything off of. I mean, I'm sure there was people like that worked for Team USA, like Mo was probably great.
I would like to say shout out to Ben and Leah from Team USA because they work for Mo, and they were also capturing their own kind of behind the scenes footage. They were posting constantly, but if I had a question, like they were so good to help me. So yeah. But I met them for the first time. So I wasn't like with you. I feel like I can look at you a certain way and you'll give me a question.
Yes.
Or, oh, it would be funny if you did this or something.
Yeah, we worked together well at this point.
And so, it was my first time meeting them. So I was I felt bad asking them questions, and I didn't know what they knew and what they didn't. And I think also the first day or two, I had never been on a set that big in my life.
Right.
And so, like a changing room, I had 2 different outfits for cold seat and the chalet.
Yeah, you mentioned hair and makeup. I need to know more about that, but
oh yeah,
keep going.
I'll tell you that. And by the way, this whole time, guys, I had to wear hard pants.
Ooh.
Specifically jeans.
Oh no.
Yeah. The entire.
So they had a wardrobe for you.
Well, they helped me choose a wardrobe to bring.
Oh, okay.
And they had accessories and things
I see.
like that there. But yeah, that
But
was
you
difficult.
had to bring the clothes. It wasn't like, oh, here's like options for Team USA or
they
whatever.
had that for the athletes, but they wanted me to look like I lived there, like in the chalet.
Okay.
And so I was Jesse, shout out Jesse, was at thrift stores and stuff, like finding me cool stuff.
Okay.
And so it was I had different outfit changes. I was constantly like getting mic'd up. Every time I had to go to the bathroom, they had to unmic me with this lav thing. It had tape and it was like very complicated. And so I think it took me a day or two, even a little detail of where to put my backpack will throw me off.
Yeah.
I need to know things like that so that can be removed from my brain and other things can replace it, like my lines.
Right. So did you bring like your camera stuff too, or no?
No, I just had my phone.
It was just you.
Yeah.
You and your phone.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't know.
Set it up in front of one of their.
I wasn't sure if they're like, hey, can you vlog also? Like, you know what I mean?
They did want me to get content, but I didn't have anyone to help me get the content.
Yeah.
So I was filming other stuff and I was kind of doing like selfie type of things.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to just set up my phone and get behind the scenes stuff. But every little corner of space, it might get in the shot.
Yeah,
or
there's
it
probably
might,
like tape and
there's caution tape around stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, it was, and then the cold seat, it was a all white floor, so you couldn't even walk on it. Yeah, I had to like go in from the side because I had boots on.
Wow.
And if the sound guy and everyone had to take off their shoes to go on it, it was like this
sounds
whole
intense.
deal.
Yeah,
it was very intense.
I saw the sets. They looked awesome.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
So much production went into it.
Yeah.
Matt was the agency that did a lot of the creative behind it. It's Matte, if anyone out there is looking for a
you need a set production
company.
designer. Yeah.
They were great. And I made friends with pretty much everyone on my specific crew. So the assistant director, she worked on Modern Family for 10 years.
Awesome.
She did Tropic Thunder.
That's so cool.
Name another famous movie. She probably did that.
Inception.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I just remember hearing names of movies and the fact that I knew them
Yeah.
said a lot. So she was the assistant director on all of those.
That's so cool.
It was amazing. And she showed me like when they say, that's a wrap on this, that's a wrap on that, and everyone cheers. After 10 years of Modern Family, she recorded the whole thing. So you can see all the actors and everyone's emotional.
Yeah.
And she has all those things on her phone.
That's so weird.
It was mesmerizing to me.
That's so crazy.
I was like, show me more, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Bucky.
It's all right.
Okay. And so that was Leslie. Shout out Leslie. She was the one that was like, okay, in 5 minutes, you're going to need to get your mic on. Okay, you have 2 minutes. Sit
so
on
there's someone, you almost have like a handler.
Kind of, but she was the handler for the entire set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be really on.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And just like chatting with the camera or one of the crew, I think he was more video on the other side. Oh, here's Bucky. No. Someone get Bucky.
Oh my God. So you just sit right onto the recorder?
He would literally sit right on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. And so this other guy, he was like, were you on Ellen when I worked there? And I was like, A, that's amazing you worked on Ellen.
Yeah.
B, no, that's hilarious you even think I would be up to par to.
Well, you're in LA on an NBC set.
Yes,
they don't know.
And he doesn't know. Yeah.
They don't know it's your first time
That's
or whatever.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he apparently worked on Ellen, and he was like, you look exactly like this actress that used to come on and do these game shows. Like, so it wasn't like she was on there all the time. It would just be once in a while when they needed some kind of entertainment, they would come up with a game show, and she was the person to do that.
Yeah.
That cracked me up. And he was like, I went through my old set list, crew list, and everything. He's like, I don't know who it is. And he was trying to figure it out, which I thought was funny.
Maybe it was you.
Actually, I wouldn't put it past myself
I
to
don't
just
know.
black out for 10 years.
Yeah, you were the game show person on Ellen. Yeah.
Right. And then there's this other camera guy who was just like really chill, who also worked on a lot of cool things. We followed each other on Instagram. The sound guy, I was like best friends with the sound guy by the end of it.
Yeah.
And I got sad.
Yeah.
I didn't cry because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I did get sad to leave.
So you were there for a week, right?
Yeah.
From Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Right. And you were on set every day.
Yeah.
For, you said like 10 to
At
14
least
hours.
10 hours. Yeah. Yeah. The minimum was 10 hours. And sometimes I had a break. I would have maybe like 2 cold seats first thing in the morning. Then I would have 3 athletes come through for 45 minutes each that I didn't do anything with. So I had that time to check email. I would get back to text messages in that time and return Regan's calls and everything.
Right. So there would be like some athletes that were for the cold seat. Not every athlete was doing it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had 8 cold seats and 8 firesides. Oh, sorry, 9 cold seats because we added Danny.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool.
And, but during the time of being on set, you had to, a lot of times it was quiet on set and they would like yell that to everybody. Mm-hmm. And so that means you couldn't, what I took that as I couldn't go to the bathroom.
Right.
I learned on the last day I could have went to the bathroom.
Okay.
But I didn't that whole time.
Yeah.
But you couldn't talk. You couldn't walk loud. Mm-hmm. Like the winter boots I was wearing were kind of cloppy. Mm-hmm. So I would just stand like a statue until they would ring the bell.
You didn't want to raise any red flags.
No, I wanted, you know me.
Yeah.
It's just like being on the plane. I need to be the favorite of every flight attendant.
Yes.
So
you want to be liked by everyone.
Yes. Imagine me on set with an entire production crew I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had a permanent smile on my face, looking everyone directly in the eye and saying hello.
Yeah.
And getting out of everyone's way, even if I like going up to a cooler of drinks. If I saw someone else approaching, I would stand there and wait. I could have just gotten a drink, but I wanted them to like me and know how polite I am.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
a full-time job,
the
really.
The thing is, it's like all people from LA, so you don't really know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, because they work in this industry, I'm assuming. Most of them. I don't know if there's anyone else that's like, oh, this is their first time.
No, it seemed like everyone was specialized in something, and that's what they did all the time.
Yeah.
the sound guy was sound guying.
Yeah. Did any of the athletes know you besides Danny?
Surprisingly, they did. There were some also that I followed on Instagram, and they followed me on Instagram.
Okay.
But there was a snowboarder, Maddie Mastro. Okay. She's a snowboarder, and I'm going to fully describe this situation because there was a lot happening.
Okay.
On set at certain times, the Team USA marketing guy, George, shout out George. You met George in wherever we were, Paris.
Paris, yep.
And so they have these TikTokers that have like 20 million followers.
Okay.
I'm not exaggerating. And they allowed them to come on set and just like capture some things, take some pictures or whatever. And
are these people that are like sports or Team USA?
Just not at all. Complete opposite of sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just random
very
people.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's like a sales funnel, they would be at the very top of like, hey, did you know Olympics exist?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. So they have that huge audience. So one of these people was Haley. I think her name is Haley Bailey on TikTok.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds very familiar. I don't know why.
And so she was there within 5 feet of me, I would say, after I finished an interview. And Maddie was also standing there. She was there and I was there in the same exact vicinity. Maddie saw me. I'm assuming saw Haley, but didn't know who Haley was, but knew who I was. And she was like, I love your TikToks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love your snowboarding.
Yeah.
And she's like, can we get a picture? And then we had people take our picture. Then I was like, yeah, I really think it would be funny if we filmed a video. And she's like, oh my gosh, would you try snowboarding? Like, so it was this whole thing. And that extremely famous Haley Bailey is standing right there.
8 million followers on TikTok.
And that's on Instagram.
Oh, was that Instagram?
I think she has more on TikTok, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's Instagram. 8 million.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking if Maddie would recognize anyone, it would be Haley Bailey. That's like her age group and everything. But no, it was me. And I just thought that was such a telling thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. And she was so sweet. And yeah. So we're friends now.
That's awesome.
So there were some people that knew who I was. Some people that didn't, but now we're friends. And some people that got in there, filmed, and got
just
out.
Just left, yeah.
Yeah, which rightfully so. Get away from me as fast as you can. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah. So was it more fun for you to do the Fireside one or the cold seat?
I think cold seat. Fireside, it was a lot of pressure because I didn't know where the interviews were going to go.
Okay.
I was worried someone would say something sad. I would start crying. Or I was worried that they would be really short and dry with their answers. And I would have to like keep coming up with a lot of questions to fill it and more personality and everything. So whereas cold seat, I knew where that was going. It was going mayhem. And it went mayhem every time. Yeah. And that was the purpose. So it was like...
Yeah, so, but those questions were lined up for you, the cold seat ones.
Yeah, they were pretty much lined up. And I would kind of like ad-lib here and there.
Yeah.
With like riffing off of the athlete.
Okay.
If they like threw their sister under the bus or something, I would be like, oh, well, why your sister or something, and make them even more uncomfortable. Yeah. And so that to me was more fun and funny. Whereas the Fireside, that's not really my personality. And sometimes I was really stuck on, like, I couldn't suss out a person's personality or anything beforehand. And so I would ask Ben, because Ben and Leah have at least seen a lot of the athletes if they haven't worked directly with them. And that was really helpful.
Was it, were you able to like cut like or redo a question?
I messed up the intro of one.
Okay.
And I said, can I do that again? And they just said, yeah. And so I did it again and it was fine.
Okay.
Because I had to say, welcome to Team USA Cold Seat. Today in the cold seat is blah, 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 blah. Are you ready to face the elements? And I basically said the first two parts and then forgot to say the last one, but I recognized it right away.
Yeah. So was there someone like, oh, you have to redo that? Or
no, they were just letting
letting you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was this one part where basically the answer that I did not want them to say, they said that, and I panicked and I hit the button. It like became a panic button all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I hit that, and then all of a sudden the elements start coming, but I wasn't ready for them to go to that yet. And then but I didn't want that person to know that I knew that they weren't supposed to say that. And so then I tried to cover it. Mo thought it was hilarious. I was freaking out because I'm like, I just ruined this entire thing.
Yeah.
But she's like, we'll just cut that one part. It was terrifying.
So what was Mo's role, kind of like overseeing everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me talk a little bit about Mo.
Also say who Mo is.
Mo is, I'm going to say it wrong, but she's basically in charge of all of digital media of Team USA.
We saw her at the Paralympics.
Yeah.
So she does Olympics and Paralympics, right?
Yeah. We first met Mo at the U.S. Olympic trials.
Yes.
Track and field.
Yes, because Chuck had told us about her or something like that.
Yeah, so basically, if you guys remember, Mike and I flew to Michigan to film with Chuck Aoki, our favorite
love him
wheelchair rugby player.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, we love you too.
Yeah, but Chuck,
right.
We have history.
We met Chuck first.
Yeah.
And Chuck was like, oh, my friend Mo really likes your videos. And so I was like, let's take our picture together and send it to her. Mm-hmm. So it was like the start of this inside joke kind of thing. And when Mo found out I was at trials, I think Chuck said like, oh, Mo's at trials, you guys should meet. And I was determined at that point because I wanted to meet Mo. So without knowing who Mo was at this point, by the way.
Yeah, we just thought it was Chuck's friend.
Right. So I wanted to meet Mo so that we could get a picture and send it to Chuck. That was like the whole premise of me really needing to meet Mo. Mm-hmm. Not in any of this entire time did Chuck or Mo care to mention that she basically runs all of any Team USA content you see on anything.
Yeah.
Mo is in charge. Mm-hmm. She's not posting it and creating it, but she is in charge of approving, concepting, like everything. Mm-hmm. The whole, what is that called? Like making sure everything meshes and strategy and everything. It's digital media. Let's just say.
Yeah, I don't know if I can come up with a word right now.
She does big things.
But yeah, it's a big deal.
She has a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And she has to uphold a lot of things and follow a lot of rules.
Yeah.
And sometimes she creates rules.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. She's a rule creator sometimes.
Okay.
And so when we met her at trials, I was like, oh, let's get our picture. Teehee, this is so silly. And then, Regan's nosy. So she starts asking Mo what she does. And then Mo tells us that, she runs the world. And she was like, oh, we should really get you to Paris. That's where that started.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. So I ended up taking myself and you and Jesse to Paris to get our own content.
Yeah.
And that's where I realized, oh, Mo was actually a big deal.
Right.
And she is the one that when they came up with these concepts for this Team USA shoot, she was like, we have to have Erin for this. Because they were looking for somebody that not a broadcaster, because that wouldn't be enough riffing and like personality and engaging content, but also not just a social media person, because they wouldn't understand longer form interviews.
Right.
I'm not sure I understand either, but I can black out and do them. Yeah.
We interviewed a bunch of athletes in
Paris.
Paris.
it just goes. When you think about all the athletes that I've interviewed from the start of USATF.
Yeah.
How many would you even say that is? Probably like 30 to 50?
A lot. And most of them, you didn't know anything about them.
Right. And I just went with it and now we're friends.
Which is probably why they must have saw that. And been like, okay, well.
She said Paris for sure is where everyone saw us getting athletes who we never met before and just interviewing them for a few minutes and how instantly like relaxed the athletes were. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what they wanted.
That's great.
Yeah. There were people that looked like they were mingling about that were actually decision makers, I think. Another shout out to Mo, because she knew I was there by myself. I didn't know anybody. And she kind of took me under her wing. Like I sat with her at lunch if we were sitting outside, and I ate dinner with her. And just like I was always kind of sitting with her, and she would introduce me to everybody.
Right.
And it was really cool to meet all these people that did like tons of stuff within NBC, or because Mo, fun fact, used to work for NBC.
Okay.
Then
so that's
she
how she like pivoted
and went to Team USA.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
cool.
That's the lore behind Mo.
Okay. Yeah. I remember taking that picture of you and Chuck in like that deli, and him being like, "Oh yeah, let's send this to my friend Mo." And we were like, "All right,
we were like,
send
cool.
it to Mo."
Tell her I said hi.
Yeah.
And he also sent us videos that Mo took, so we also thought Mo was a fan of wheelchair rugby.
Yeah.
Like we had no
Yeah,
one
we had her footage. We used, I think, a clip or two in like the video, right? Yeah.
So that's also
I had no
funny.
idea. I literally thought she was just like his friend.
And as the more I hung out with Mo, the more I realized we have really random things in common, or like we think the same about a lot of stuff. And it was, instead of like, oh, here's Mo, she's in charge and I need to work for her, it was also like, wow, I'm getting to know Mo. And I feel like we're friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mo, if you don't feel the same, but you're my friend.
Yeah. I probably became more collaborative at that point. Right?
Yeah. And she was really honest with me too, because for example, the first cold seat and the first fireside, they were okay and they're usable, but they could have been so much better. And I already explained, like taking away the cue cards helped a lot, but she didn't like sugarcoat it. She was like, I can tell you don't like how that went, or that turned out. And she's like, I think it could be better. And, we would like riff from there. And I found that super helpful. Like, please don't say I did a great job.
Yeah. If you didn't.
Yeah. Like tell how can we make this better?
Right.
And the typical thing that would happen on a set is you have a run through day and all that stuff would have been ironed out.
Yeah. But you were just,
we didn't have that, and that's a whole nother production day they would have to pay for, so that got cut. And I just went in there, raw dog the whole thing.
Well, it seems like you did a good job.
I think
eventually.
I did a good job. Yeah. I can't wait to see the final content,
which won't come out until what, next year at some
well,
point?
they're gonna start putting stuff out. They'll put behind the scenes stuff out now, but the other stuff is going to start probably in October, because that's 100 days out from the Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll do like a countdown thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start seeing a ton of Team USA
so
stuff.
are you like, now you're going to go to Italy? Is that the plan?
I hope so. There was this welcome package that it had Team USA stuff. Some of it was Italy specific, like the American flag and the Italy flag. And there was a thing in there from YouTube that was like filming stuff and camera or portable light things. And
okay.
YouTube socks.
Like a little YouTube kit.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, can this be because I'm going there? I'm going to manifest that.
Yeah.
One thing I really couldn't do, which hindered me a lot in trying to film stuff to show people, was I couldn't capture any of the crew in the shots.
Oh.
And that was so difficult because it's a union, there's privacy things, and
they're everywhere also, right?
They're everywhere. They look like ants. Oh, we were talking earlier about, did people know who I was?
Yeah.
And there was this one girl who was from NBC, and she was giving tours of our set to other NBC people, because you have to know like when you can come in, and she had an earpiece on so she could talk to our production and they could say, yes, you can come in. And so she was bringing people through, and she asked someone like, oh my gosh, is that Mrs. Space Cadet?
Yeah.
And the person was like, yeah, do you want to say hi to her? And she was like, yeah, but she never came and said hi. And so then the next day, someone walked her over to me and said, this is who wanted to say hi. And I ended up meeting her. She's like so nice. And she offered to take me to the other sets. So I got to see where the ice skaters were actually skating.
Yeah.
And
I saw some of those other sets in the behind the scenes. It looks
it was really cool.
Really cool, yeah. Especially where like the skiers and stuff were taking pictures. It looked like they were like on a mountain in the clouds.
It did look like that.
Yeah.
And they had a ski lift there that lowered down when they were going to use that.
Yeah, that's
it was
insane.
Epic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The food was good.
Yeah, how was craft services? How was makeup? And
we'll do hair. So craft services was great. Every day it was a different meal and you had multiple choices.
Okay.
And there were like 5 tables lined up, all with the same thing. So there wasn't like a mile long line.
Mm-hmm.
And also each set had a different time for lunch each day.
Okay.
So it kind of staggered things. And then there was a huge tent with hundreds of chairs and tables that you could sit out there if you wanted. I was in a winter sweater and snow boots and hard pants.
Mm-hmm.
So I would walk out. I think I ate there twice.
Mm-hmm.
I would walk out, get my food, die, and go back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. There was also, I think I have visual recap, I filmed the table inside with all the snacks and goodies and drinks.
Yeah.
And there was a guy, and I wish I remembered his name. It'll come to me. He was the best. He had just a griddle, and the stuff that he would cook on this thing, like
custom?
Yes.
Like whatever you want?
He would just come up with things, or sometimes he would make smoothies and he would just like walk around, or yogurt parfaits or samosas.
That's awesome. So there was just like this chef basically
potato pancakes. Yeah.
That's cool.
And so there was that. There were tons of snacks just to keep you going if your blood sugar was low.
Right, but you were not eating a lot of snacks because you didn't want to make noise. Is that what?
Yeah, once they would the bell would ring and you could make noise, and I was ripping open like fruit snacks and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And hair and makeup. So the first day, Mo came in with me and she's like, we just need something like she normally looks, but just even things out for the camera.
Yeah.
And so they kind of kept my hair where I could clip it back, and they did very minimal makeup, which I kind of felt like was too much still because my eyes were heavy. Mm-hmm. The mascara weighs 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And then the next day I had this different person, and they were like, we should try and put your hair down. It looks better on camera. And I'm like, I'm not going to complain. I will in my head.
Right. But they're the professionals,
They're the
right?
professionals. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's do it down.
Yeah.
I don't know how she made me look like that. I'll never be able to recreate it.
Yeah.
But it was like she did all these curls and then she sprayed like each layer in place. So it held the whole day in these curls.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Did you like how it looked though?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I wasn't like, I want to throw up.
Okay.
But it definitely, I felt like anymore it wouldn't look like me.
Okay.
You could cross the line so easily beyond that.
Yeah.
But I would still have to wear it like that. Mm-hmm. The makeup, they got behind schedule. So they had to cut mine. So I could tell athletes were waiting. And I was like, why don't we stop here? And then they can come in to get their touch-ups. And I can wait. And then I'll come back and you can finish.
Right. So the athletes were also getting hair and makeup at the same.
Yeah. Okay. And some of them just needed touch-ups or So I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? I think it looks fine. So I went back and I was like, I think I could just go like this. And they're like, you don't want any mascara? I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, if you think, you know, that's okay. And I'm like, I do. And it was fine. I saw myself on camera. And the hair and makeup people were like, you don't wear any makeup? Like, you don't put stuff on your face? I was like, no. And they were like, so this must feel really weird. I'm like, yeah, it does. That and hard pants get me out of there.
Yeah. So you had to bring your own hard pants.
Yes.
Okay.
I went to Old Navy and I purchased jeans.
Wow.
It was one of the most miserable experiences of my life.
That's funny.
Let me go on a little rant here.
Okay.
About jeans from Old Navy specifically.
Okay.
I understand what you guys are trying to do. I really do. Because people have different shapes. And you want different cuts. And then you want some ripped and some not. Mm-hmm. So it ends up being 23 different styles of jeans. Mm-hmm. Then you have all the sizes of those jeans. Right. Why, in God's name, do you not have different lengths?
Apparently,
Online,
apparently
okay.
they do online.
I didn't have time
You didn't
for
have time
online.
for online, yeah.
In fact, if we really want to go into that,
Yeah.
it was so last minute. By the time I got my wardrobe approved, I had to, I say I, but it was Jesse, had to rush order these I almost said Long Beach Island, these LL Bean sweaters to my house. Yes, this is purely my luck. The package was delayed. I said, this is not acceptable. This is once in my life. I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
I say I, but it was once again Jessie. Jessie got on the phone. I don't know how she managed this. She talked to a person that was going to hand pick the sweaters from there, wherever they were.
Yeah.
Package them in a box themselves by hand and then ship them to the hotel that I was going to.
Oh, in LA.
Yeah, to ensure that they would not be delayed.
Okay.
And they showed up like right on time.
That's great.
Yeah. So there was no time for...
I feel like LL Bean is one of those companies where you could
talk to a person.
You could talk to a person. Yeah.
Eventually, yeah. So that was so nerve-wracking. Then when I got to the hotel, I landed, I went right to set. Just think of my mental state.
So you didn't have any hotel time?
No, it was take my huge roller bag and my carry-on and my other bag, get an Uber, roll everything into set, and they showed me around to each thing. I think the stylist was there, which I'll get to the stylist in a little bit. And she might have helped me pick outfits or something, or that was the next day. I can't remember.
Okay.
So I went directly from there after the travel day, which I think that flight, I don't know, it's Newark to LA. So whatever that is.
I don't know.
It's not short.
Yeah.
And then went back 6 hours probably. Then went back to the hotel after that.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this? I don't remember.
I don't know where you were going with it. You were just telling us
about my mental state, the clothes,
stylist. You said like just you were not doing well because you were fresh off so you had to jump right in,
right,
and then get dressed, hair and makeup, and immediately start recording. Is that?
Well, we didn't film that day. It was just I had to get to set. Oh, and then we had a team dinner after that.
So what is the team is like? Team USA people, they all work for Mo kind of thing? Or is it like set people too?
Well, it was originally going to be set and Team USA. It was going to be a huge dinner.
Yeah.
And once we saw the set and everything, and we realized, or they realized, I don't really know, Mo did not feel like everything was ready for us to just start filming the next morning.
Yeah.
So she was like, I want a small dinner of just me, Alex was basically you there, and then Kyle was another you, and then Ben and Leah.
Okay.
Leah reminded me a lot of you.
Okay, so it was a bunch of me and Sam's walking around.
Yeah, like
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it did actually. Once I got that like feeling about them.
Yeah.
I say Alex and Kyle were you just because they filmed and edited.
Okay.
Yeah, but Leah, your personalities are similar.
Okay.
Like always prepared. Oh, you need a Sharpie? I have one. Just like pulls it out somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, see, Sam just said she has a Sharpie in her bag. And so I was glad that it was just us because I knew they were comfortable with Mo. They all, except Kyle, was new, but we could really hash things out.
Right. You can figure out the details. You can ask your questions openly.
Openly without being judged by production.
Yeah.
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 So that was the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the next day it was hair and makeup. And then I was just so nervous because my brain... I can't tell the difference between where's the bathroom and where should I put my bag and where should I put my shoes that I'm not wearing. I can't tell the difference between that and what are the lines I have to remember.
Yeah,
where
all
do I
those
go
things
on
are
set?
important to you.
Yes, they're all equal in my brain, and I know they shouldn't be. I know I shouldn't make a big deal out of where do I put my things.
Yeah.
But that takes up space, and then it makes less room for the important things.
Yeah.
I had a nightmare last night that I had to drive to a place without seeing the parking lot first.
Where's Tommy runs at?
Yeah. Shout out Tommy.
Yeah.
So the stylist, Carrie.
Yeah. Okay.
I was intimidated by her because I thought she looks very LA to me, mainly because she was just pretty and she had blonde hair, I guess.
Yes.
And so
probably
I thought
like
she
put
was
together if she's a stylist,
very
right?
put together and effortlessly too.
Yeah.
So I thought that she was an LA girly, but I didn't feel like she was judging me. She was immediately helpful. So I was like, thank God, take that off the worry list because that was on there. The stylist is going to hate me.
Right.
And she immediately was like, okay, I think these jeans with these boots and all this stuff. And this is the first time I met her. So she has no idea that I want to cry, just or throw up or something. Look at these jeans.
She doesn't know what you normally wear.
She has no idea.
Yeah.
And so she zooms out because she has, she's also in charge of the athletes. And if someone's shirt isn't tucked in right, she goes in and like tucks in their shirt. She does everything from choosing outfits and accessories to how they look sitting down.
Right. So is there someone fixing you if you're like...
Not me.
No, not you.
Not me, just the athletes.
Okay.
Yeah. By the end of the day, my hair and makeup looked how they did.
Okay.
And I was disheveled. And I think it just added to the effect.
I mean, that's the chaos.
Yeah. But you think you have a break? You have probably 10 minutes because you have to get on your set, mic'd up, sitting there for like 20 minutes before you're on.
Yeah.
But you just have to be there.
But the first time you're meeting the athletes is on set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
And it was the introduction was basically like Andrew meet Erin. That's what it was. And it was me like, hi.
Yeah.
I had goggles on my head for the cold seat and a sweater or just normal for a fireside. But it was me being,
right.
What do I say?
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say for fireside, when they sat down, I would say like, this is just supposed to be like a fun, casual chat, not like the other media you just went through. Cause I know they were probably drilled with like emotional questions and hard questions.
Right.
And so I wanted them to know like,
so were there
relax.
other interviews happening at the same time?
Not on my set. There was another stage where the athlete, it looked so cool. They had this huge giant movie screen. The athlete would stand in front of it. So they were just a black silhouette and they would be asked, they would show the run, say it was a skier. They would be playing some infamous ski run of theirs and they would be watching it and talking about it and answering questions about that run. And it was really cool. And there was another set where the athlete would just stand there in front of a white background and someone offset would be reading questions that they were answering, asking to everyone.
Okay. Yeah. You said you were looking at your phone. You said things were coming up when you were looking at like the social media posts.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at that and see if anything comes to mind?
Yeah.
Just go look at the Team USA page. Because I don't want you to be like, oh, I should have said.
I know. I know. Yeah. So Mystique Ro was the skeleton.
Yeah.
Athlete
that's a scary.
She looks so like badass and terrifying, and her sport is terrifying. So I think that's why I think that's why I was intimidated by her because I watched a video of skeleton. You could look like a little like child and I would be scared of you if you said you are a skeleton athlete.
Yeah.
And yeah, so but she was so chilled. I thought she was going to be like intense for some reason. I don't know. That sport is guys, if you just take a little break real quick and just look up a skeleton run. Like, I don't know what'll come up if you Google that, but like Team USA skeleton.
Type in Olympic maybe.
Yeah, Olympic skeleton race.
Yeah.
And you'll
so
probably...
you interviewed para athletes as well?
Yes. My favorite, aside from Danny, was Andrew Kurka.
Okay.
And Andrew is a skier, alpine, I think. And his personality was just really funny without trying to be funny.
Yeah.
So kind of dry, but like really easygoing and kind of, so he was in cold seat and I had so much fun. He was, I think, one of the best ones.
That's good.
Yeah. Also, I got to interview a Paralympic curler, and she didn't start until really late in life. She was visiting from Mongolia. She was visiting a friend in the US, got in this really bad car accident, and was wheelchair bound, had to be separated from her family and her kids for 8 years.
Wow.
Because they couldn't get visas to come here. And she was stuck here because of the accident and everything and the care she needed. I know. And so she has overcome so much. And that was one of the interviews where I was like, this isn't going to probably be funny or fun. Mm-hmm. She's more serious and
that's serious.
Still badass.
Yeah.
I was just, So that was kind of cool because, I got to say, like, I tried curling and that was horrible.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like made her laugh a little bit. But
right.
So it was, I feel like kind of an even mix between para and Olympic athletes, I would say, that I got
good.
to have. Yeah.
That's good.
And also learning all about these sports because obviously for Paris, that none of those are here.
Yeah.
So I'm learning, aside from sled hockey. The date is the 25th. So for the next episode, it'll be the Grand Slam track.
Right.
We have no idea how that's going to go.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Yeah. Is there like any other housekeeping things we need to talk about? Probably not, right?
If you haven't signed up for my newsletter yet, it comes out every other Wednesday. You can sign up on my website. I guess I would like to say that I'm proud of myself because every opportunity where someone was like, oh, there's this thing you don't have to go to, but you're invited, or there's this dinner with this person, I went to every single thing, even though I was completely exhausted. One of them was, Mo was like, oh, in the presidential suite, there's just something for like creators. I forget what she called it. I'm like, well, what even is that? She's like, I don't know, but you can go up there.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went up by myself.
Mm-hmm.
After I ate a quesadilla and I went up there.
Yeah.
By myself, not knowing anybody or what it even was.
Yeah.
And there were some creators there. There were some athletes. There were Team USA marketing people. Mm-hmm. They had like appetizers, mocktails. There was a cool thing where you could make a Team USA leather luggage tag.
That's cool.
With your initials on it.
Did you make one?
I made one for me and Dan.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I met Ariana, who is a U.S. women's rugby player. Mm-hmm. And I think we actually showed some of her plays on, it was either Sporty Time or we talked about on this podcast.
Yeah.
Of her like stiff arming people.
I think I vaguely remember this. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was the one with the really long braid.
Yeah.
And she was so cool to talk to her. And then also Paralympian Kat, who does track and field. I've been following her, I think, since probably summer during the Paralympics. So I got to meet them. And then I got really social anxiety and I panicked and then I left. Yeah.
So how long were you there for?
I was probably there for an hour.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's long enough.
I know. I was proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I went to, when I could have just eaten in my room, I went and I ate in the lobby with everyone. Mm-hmm. Also, so back to the stylist. I was seeing her every day. I was telling her how much I hate hard pants. And she was like, no, you're just not wearing the right ones. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to help you find ones that you like because jeans are the best. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. And then I realized we were drinking wine in the lobby the one night. And then I learned she lives in Long Island. So she's not LA.
Okay.
And she worked for Ralph Lauren for like a very long time. I would say probably 20 years. And then she kind of left and now does her own thing. So, but she's hired for a lot of these. She's been to many Olympics, I think since Vancouver.
So like the NBC production hires her to come out.
Yes.
And like, okay.
Yeah. To do all the styling. And so we learned all about each other's life stories. And then while I'm sitting in the airport and I get a call like, oh, I'm invited to go speak at this thing, but this thing is business. Mm-hmm. And I panicked and I texted her because she made the mistake of giving me her number.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm freaking out. I was invited to this thing. Can you help style me? And she was like, yep. Like she was telling me stuff I could wear to the airport to be comfortable but look nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a new person, guys. And you can all thank Carrie.
You have a personal stylist?
Yeah, I'm going to share all my tips that I learned with you.
That's funny.
For anyone that wants to be comfortable but also has to look nice.
Yeah.
On the rare occasion.
Okay.
I'm still going to be rack girl.
Right.
When I'm
rack
not
girl at heart.
Right. When I'm not on stage or having to look, appropriate, right. I'm going to be my rack girl self.
Yeah.
I think I was just born a rack girl. I'm always going to be a rack girl, but I can temporarily dress up.
Right. Does she style the men as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody. Do you need help?
Maybe. Yeah. You send her a picture of me. How can this fit be better?
So if you need any stylist,
give her Instagram out.
Yeah. I would like to say that Carrie went up to Alex Hall, who is a famous, I think, snowboarder or skier. I actually have more to say.
Okay. Go ahead.
And this was in the lobby after the wine. And she's like, I want to get a video for my son. So I'm going to see if he can take that. So she gets up, and I did not tell her I was going to do this, but I creepily filmed her. I don't know what I was thinking. I filmed her going up to this guy and getting the video.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I do something like that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyway, but that reminded me, one of the athletes that I interviewed was Alex Ferreira, and he's the freestyle skier, and his alter ego online is Hot Dog Hans. Have you guys ever seen?
I've never seen.
We're big Hot Dog Hans fans in our family, so the kids were freaking out that he was one of the athletes I was interviewing.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, like Lindsey, Vonn, they have no idea, but Hot Dog Hans, they were just losing their minds about. And so he basically plays this grandpa. He puts prosthetic makeup on, and he looks really old. He dresses in jeans and like a windbreaker from the 90s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he like curses at people on the slopes, and everyone gets pissed off at him. And then he just goes and rips this huge like triple flip in front of them.
Yeah. That's cool. So he's in disguise, but like
he's in disguise. Okay. Yeah. And that's like his alter ego. And so I got to interview him, and it was like diarrhea of the mouth. I was like, we're huge Hot Dog Hans fans. We really love Hot Dog Hans.
It's funny because that account has more than his like actual account.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him, how does it feel that account has more followers than you, but they didn't approve that one. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's fine.
Your questions had to be approved.
Yeah. Like Mo was saying, some of them were too mean.
Okay. Yeah.
That's okay.
Did you ask any pee pee poo poo questions?
None of those were approved. I wanted to ask the bobsled, the women that go both in the bobsled.
Yeah.
Did you ever fart when you're in there? Do you hold it in?
In the tube?
They did not approve.
That's
of that.
That's a great question.
I know. I will ask it one day when I'm on my own.
Yeah. That's a great question.
I think so too.
I think the moral of the story is, you don't know what the other next thing is going to lead to. Like we went to Paris, and you had no idea that this was going to come up, and you funded Paris.
Yes, it was
like no one was sending us out there.
Of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me die just thinking about it. But it led to this.
Yeah.
And then I did this, and because also the thing with Mo is she was like, "Are you free this date to this date?" Does not tell me what it's for. I told her this, so I feel comfortable talking about this. Mm-hmm. I was like, you never even told me what it was for. You didn't say where I needed to go. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, I'll call you. Like not realizing she gave me zero details. Because I'm like, just tell me what it is, because maybe I'll say no. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's like, because I had just been away from my entire family for pretty much a month.
Yeah.
And so then I had to make the decision of leaving again. Mm-hmm. It was a big decision.
Yeah.
So I could have said no to it, or felt like, oh, I'm not comfortable doing that. I've never been to a huge production like that. I don't think I'm cut out for it, and let the imposter syndrome get the best of me. But I was like, I'm going to do it. I have to have confidence in myself. And then I did it, and who knows where this will lead.
Right.
Maybe
You're the new NBC spokesperson.
They would never. Yeah.
But we're proud of you.
Thank you.
The non-members are proud of you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we love reading your comments on our Spotify. Did you know that you could comment there? Also, we really appreciate when you follow us. There's a follow button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It helps us out a lot. And we love reading your comments on our Instagram post at non-members only. Michael Motorcycle posts a visual recap every Sunday evening to give you a little look what's to come Monday.
Yeah, that's everything. You said it all.
Okay, good. I don't know how I spit that out.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.